When Congress defunded public media, thousands of you stepped up, increasing your monthly gift to help us survive year one without federal funding. We made it, but that loss isn't going away. So if you haven't increased your monthly contribution yet, now's the time. And if you're not a sustaining member, join us. A monthly gift to Boise State Public Radio gives us the steady, reliable support we need for year two and beyond. Choose the support tab at boisestatepublicradio.org.
From the studios of Boise State Public Radio News, I'm Samantha Wright, filling in for Jim and Gaudette. It's Idaho Matters. The annual Oregon-Idaho Conference of the United Methodist Church, which represents 145 United Methodist churches in Oregon and Idaho, won't be coming back to Idaho next year. Bishop Cedric Bridgeforth sat down with our George Prentice to explain why.
Up top, maybe you could paint a word picture for us of your region, what it includes geographically, and how many churches are included.
Yeah, we cover Oregon, Idaho, Washington, Alaska, and we have some churches in British Columbia as well. And we also relate to 3 universities in that area and several community-based nonprofits as well.
In Idaho, that has to be tens of thousands of members, yes?
Well, in Idaho, we have 29 churches, and in Oregon, we have 116. But across the 4 states and British Columbia, we have just under 500.
Well, do you have a sense of the reasons for the change for next year's conference and the decision not to hold it in Idaho?
Yeah, there was an immediate response even prior to our meeting there in June. There was this response to what is referred to as the bathroom bill and its passage, and so there were some rumblings prior to our June meeting, but we proceeded to have our meeting there at Boise, and during that meeting, a member of our organization had to go to a hospital. There was a spouse involved who identifies as non-binary and really felt threatened in that situation. Of course, reports of that came back to the body, and there were some immediate reactions to that. Wow. And that became an opportunity to also talk about anti-immigrant sentiment, general LGBTQ sentiment in Idaho. And so it's kind of a perfect storm.
What's the message when basically this vote, and I'm guessing the vote was pretty emotional, but it basically says, you know what, Idaho is not necessarily such a safe place right now?
It was a very close vote, and I feel as though that vote spoke to many things. I mean, one, it was a sense of we don't want to be in a place where our members are not respected, not fully humanized, and able to move freely about the state in the variety of ways that one would need to, whether they're a visitor or a resident. But there was also this deeper struggle there because we do have a commitment to full inclusion in the church. That's of all people, LGBTQIA plus and beyond, and also to care for our immigrant siblings and all those who would be, left vulnerable out in the world due to houselessness, to food insecurity, all of it. And so what ends up happening in a conversation or in what turns out to be a vote like this is you really have people struggling with values of, is this our opportunity to stay in Idaho and continue to be present and fight for change? Is it an opportunity to, in a sense, boycott, vacate, and demonstrate a witness in that way as well? So it's a struggle of value of whether to stay and support or to retreat and support in that way.
But the work continues, yes? Certainly on behalf of those populations that may feel fearful or threatened.
Of course. I mean, that's at the core of who we are as United Methodists, is really to stand with those who have been marginalized, those who have been pushed out, those who have been demonized, those who do not have full access to health care, to education, to citizenship even. And so, we have many of our ministries there in Idaho who continue to support those in their communities, in their cities, in their neighborhoods. And that's because that's what they are called to do. And the larger organization is called to come alongside those congregations, whether we meet there or not.
And the fight is, I have to assume, is the good fight. And so might that be a reason to hold the conference in Idaho in future years?
Of course, for some, that is the heart of the argument. I mean, the Oregon-Idaho Annual Conference of the United Methodist Church has an agreement like that came from the merger of the Oregon Conference and the Idaho Conference many decades ago. And the agreement is that once every 4 years, the conference must be held in Idaho. We were endeavoring to do something different this year and next year and hold those two conferences back to back as opposed to waiting 4 years. And so that really became the opening to have a different type of conversation. And then, of course, the incident at the hospital just ramped it up.
And it's not Idaho versus Oregon, right?
Of course not. Of course not. It's really about how do we provide a safe, secure, open space for our members and those that we seek to serve to be able to show up together, to gather together, and to be able to help one another. And again, it's not just about for the 4 or 5 days that we are gathered to meet as a body, but it's about how we do that throughout the year and in the years ahead.
For those of us who may not be Methodists, I hope you can appreciate that we're rather stunned to see this headline. So what is your message, though, to queer and immigrant United Methodists who do live in Idaho?
Yeah, I'm a queer person. I do not live in Idaho, but I serve Idaho proudly. And the message is that the United Methodist Church is a fully open body who seeks to welcome and to engage with all people who are seeking to bring about equity and justice in the world. That is who we are. That is what we are working toward. And whenever there is anything, legally or otherwise, that impedes our ability to do that, we will react and we will respond. And that is what has happened this summer in Idaho.
That was Bishop Cedric Bridgeforth speaking with our George Prentice about why the annual Oregon-Idaho Conference of the United Methodist Church voted not to return to Idaho next year.
And thanks so much for listening to Idaho Matters from Boise State Public Radio. Do you have thoughts about today's episode? Make sure you email us at idahomatters@boisestate.edu or reach out on our socials. And you can also listen to Boise State Public Radio podcasts, including Idaho Matters, on YouTube.
Each story you hear on Planet Money starts with a question. What happens if we refund tariffs? Why are groceries so expensive? At NPR, we stand for your right to be curious, because the forces shaping our world can be hard to see. Follow NPR's Planet Money wherever you get your podcasts and start seeing how the economy really works.